Hey, what's up guys, it's the Catalyst47 here, back with another video. So guys, following up from my last video, I'm still wearing the same shirt. Don't judge me, because it's the same day that I made the Burning Abyss deck profile. But I wanted to give you guys, as y'all can see by the title, a new deck that I just finished building a few weeks ago. Basically it's Zombie Eldlich. So I decided to make the deck just because I've always been a fan of zombies. I think I explained to you guys in one of my way earlier videos when I started doing these Yu-Gi-Oh videos, that a zombie was like the first actual deck that I built and played with back in like 2011. Yeah, like zombie plant or like zombie twilight plant deck and all that stuff. It was a really fun deck and I really loved it. So I decided to build that deck back then. And when I came back into Yu-Gi-Oh last year, I really wanted to find a way to make zombies work, but it just, like the pure zombie build, yes, if it went off, it was good, but the consistency was what was the issue. Like, you had some hands that were pretty bricky, or you had hands that most hands could combo off with the pure zombie build, but the thing is, it was very fragile to hand traps. Like, one hand trap just stopped the whole combo. So I don't think that's the proper way to play the game, just because hand traps are part of the game. So you can't expect people running like 9 to 14 hand traps nowadays. It's ridiculous. So I feel like that version is very, very casual. Not really, if you want to be more competitive, it's not really going to work. But this version, I did build it with more of a competitive mindset, and I did get some inspiration from Andres Torres. He made a deck profile a couple months ago that I liked it, so I decided to tweak a few things and then test out the deck or myself. So, and I've really been enjoying it. I haven't gotten to test it out too much, but I did test it out a little bit, and it was really fun. I like it. It's definitely not as good in my opinion as like the pure Eldlich, where people are playing like Dogmatica Eldlich. I do think that version is stronger just because the consistency is a little better on that deck, and the Dogmatica engine is just so powerful. So I do think that version is stronger, but this version is still fairly competitive, and I think it's more fun in my opinion. So, and there was more synergy than I really thought. I had never actually combined these before and played with it, even though I did know about it, but I never tried it out. But there are some pretty cool things you can do with this deck, especially considering that the Eldritch traps work with the zombie monsters really well. So yeah, guys, without further ado, let's just get right into it. Alright guys, let's just hop right into the deck profile. So for the main deck, little sneak peek there. We got, for the main zombie monsters, like the zombie part, we got 3 Unizombie. I mean, honestly, this card is just insane how good it is. If your opponent tries like ashing, like this card, you basically need 2 hand traps unless it's like Impermavailer. But if it's ash or whatever, then you need something else if you want to stop the effect. Because it has 2 effects to being able to send one from a zombie from your deck or one from your hand. So it's just a double Foolish Burial. So I think this card is very, very good in this deck. Absolutely must at 3, just because you really want to try and open it if you can. The 1 Bloom, the 1 Necroworld Banshee, and the 1 Doom King Ballardrock. So these are just like the best ones in the deck to run, just because it's the zombie part of the engine. Doom King, of course, it's very, very good in combination with Zombie World. Basically, it's 2 interruptions, and it just keeps coming back as long as it's a field spell on the field. So that's really good. Banshee just gets you your Zombie World out, so pretty good. And then Glow Bloom is just the card that basically this card can get you, if you have Zombie World in the field, it can get any monster, or not any monster, but all the high level zombie monsters out of your deck, like the Doom King and even the Golden Lord. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, this is basically it for the zombie part. I don't feel like you need, in this version you don't really need a second Doom King, just because you have the Golden Lord. Necroworld Banshee at 1, just, you want to try and minimize like drawing multiples of any of these cards. I mean, maybe only Unizombie is fine to draw as a multiple just because it's such a good card. But these cards, you really don't want to draw them. Like, you want them to stay in the deck just because it's so easy to get them out with Unizombie or anything to make them live. So I feel like these cards are just fine at 1. Like I really don't feel like in this version of the deck you need more. If you were playing pure zombie, then yeah, you need like 2 of this. You would need at least 2 of this. The blue would probably still stay at 1, but you definitely need multiples of these cards if you were playing pure. But we are not. So that's it for the zombie engine. Now going into the Eldlich. Of course, 2 Golden Lord. I mean, this is pretty standard even in normal pure Eldlich decks. So this card is just really good. Like it in your hand, you can send it with another spell or trap to send anything in the field to the graveyard, and then it can bring itself back, and it gets like it's undestructible by card effects, and it gains a 1,000 attack boost, which is pretty good. So yeah, this card is just very good, honestly, and it's obviously with the Eldritch traps you absolutely need this. Now with the spells, we got 3 Cursed Eldland and 1 Black Awakening and 1 White Destiny. So Eldland, of course, just helps with the consistency, searching the Eldritch cards. So I think it's definitely necessary. You really want to try and open up at least something like a part of your Eldritch engine. And it goes so well with the Lord, because if you add the Lord, you can send it with another spell or trap, send this off, bring the Lord back, and then this will trigger also to send another Golden Land card from your deck to the graveyard. So it just gets all the stuff rolling. Now the Awakening and the White Destiny, just more options for your Eldritch Golden Land traps. You don't sometimes you don't always want to go for Sanguine, or maybe if you run out of Sanguine, you want to have a few more options. But yeah, these cards are just really good. This one gets Eldritch or Zombie out from your deck or grave. I want to say it's grave. Yeah, sorry, hand or deck, and then this one is grave or hand. So what's nice about these, and actually along with Sanguine, is that if you already control an Eldritch monster, these bring out any zombie like from the designated spots that they go with. So that's what I thought was crazy. It's really good in the deck. Synergizes so well. These are just one-ups though. I don't feel like you need more multiples. I know Alex Horus is playing 2. I really don't want to make the deck. He was playing I think 42 or 43 cards. I can't remember exactly, but I try to keep the deck at 40. So I just think 1 and 1 is fine, and it's worked out pretty well for me. So that's it for the Eldritch spells. Now going for the traps. Of course, we got 3 Scarlet, 3 Conquistador, and I'm playing 3 Wakero. I know some people just play 2. I mean, you could play 2. It definitely doesn't come up as much as Conquistador, so I could definitely see the logic for that. And the 1 Golden Land Forever. So these are like the 10 Eldritch traps. Obviously, these are definitely 3 ofs, and like I said, with if you have Golden Lord out already with Sanguine, you can bring out any zombie monster from your deck. So that's also another reason why you really don't need to play more than 1 Banshee or more than 1 Doom King. Like, you have so many ways to get those cards in the grave or on the field with like Unizombie or this or Black Awakening, or so really good stuff. And then Conquistador pops a card. Wakero, honestly, like, I don't think Wakero is as bad as people think. And then Golden Land Forever is just, in this version of the deck, I think it's really good because you just tribute a zombie. Like, it doesn't have to be a Golden Lord. It can be I mean, sorry, you do have to control the Golden Lord, but you don't, in this version, you won't have to tribute the Golden Lord. If you have the Golden Lord, if you have another zombie, you can just tribute whatever. Or if you have Zombie World in the field, then it doesn't matter what monster it is because they're all zombies already. So I think this card has pretty good synergy with this deck, and yeah, it works out pretty well. But that's it for the Eldritch traps. Like I said, you could theoretically, maybe, I mean, I guess you could if you wanted to like try other 2 cards. I guess the 2 flex spots would be the Golden Land Forever and the 3rd Wakero. You could just take those out and put something else if you feel like you want something else more specific to maybe your locals or whatever. But and you could definitely put like the Golden Land in the side or something. It definitely is a card better for going first. But yeah, going into the consistency cards, we got 3 Pot of Prosperity and 2 Pot of Extravagance. Um, no, I think most builds that I've been seeing, a lot of times they play 3 extra and 2 Pot of Prosperity. But I feel like in this version, like in the pure Eldlich, it makes more sense just because you really rely more on the Eldlich, so you don't use your extra deck definitely as much. So I feel like Extrav at 3 is better just because you don't care as much about your extra deck. But in this version, I feel like the extra deck is a little more important. So I feel like Prosperity is just the better card to have just because you can have the option to banish 3 instead of 6. While I feel like Extravagance, I feel like you don't really gain anything from Extravagance if you're only banishing 3 to draw 1 card. So like, I feel like with Extravagance, you have to banish 6 most of the time. And like I said, in this deck, the extra deck is a little more important. So yeah, I think Prod of Prosperity is just a little bit better in this deck. And the reason people run these, even though they conflict with each other, is just because you want to have the higher chance of drawing 1 in your opening hand or something. So obviously you don't want to draw multiples of each one, but I feel like consistency is very important in this deck. And then the combo, the 2 Zombie World with triple Super Poly. So like I said, this is why I was saying that the extra deck is definitely a little more important in this version. Not just because of Super Poly, but also the zombie cards like Unizombie and all that. It's a tuner, so you can do Hockey 5-Racks plays and all that. But yeah, 2 Zombie World, I don't feel like you need 3 in this deck. Like if I was playing the pure zombie, then yes, 3 would probably be mandatory. But in this version, like, yeah, obviously if you can get Zombie World, it's just better, but you don't necessarily have to always have it. So, and you want to keep like the consistency of the deck. Like you don't really want to draw multiple Zombie Worlds in your opening hand. So that obviously increases the risk if you run 3. So I think 2 is just a good number. It just helps you, like, you have 3 ways to basically, well, not 3 ways, you have more than 3 because you have the 2 Zombie World, the Banshee, and then the Unizombie can get you the Banshee out. So you have multiple ways to get Zombie rolled out. So I definitely don't think it's just more than a 2 of. And then obviously Super Poly just synergizes so well with Zombie World. Anything, you can use anything on the field basically. But yeah, and it helps to break boards because your opponent can't respond to Super Poly, so it gets rid of problematic monsters. And I think it's one of the reasons why this deck can actually compete and it's more competitive, I mean. So that's it for that. Just the one called by as the final spell card. I needed a 1 of, honestly. I guess another option I've been seeing people use sometimes is like Card of Demise. I think it could be a good option to increase also consistency or being able to, have draw power. I just don't actually own the card, so you could run 3 Card of Demise if you want. I mean, the Card of Demise if you want to. But I think Called By is a good option too. Just helps you play through hand traps, or it helps you get rid of problematic cards in the format like DPE or something like that. So, yep, the 1 Called By, and then now for the last few traps, these are like the normal ones. 3 Torrential, and 3 Ice Dragon's Prison. So I just feel like Torrential is a huge blowout card against a lot of decks, so I feel like it's definitely necessary to play. And Ice Dragon's Prison, it synergizes so well with Zombie World as well. Like saying it's like similar to Super Poly. It's basically like other Super Polys. You take your opponent's monsters, banish them. It's so good. And like I said, with Zombie World, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if your opponent's monsters are different attributes or not, because with Zombie World in the field, they're all zombies in the grave and field. So Ice Dragon's Prison synergizes really well with this deck. So yeah, that's it, guys, for the main deck. It's exactly 40 cards. I know Andres Torres, he was not playing the 2x Strav. He was playing because I think he said he didn't own the card. He was playing 2 Product Prosperity with the Card of Demise as his consistency cards, and then he was playing the Gamma package, which is what increases deck count to like 42 or something. So since I actually own Extrav, or I got my hands on some, I decided to just run that instead for more consistency. But I could definitely see how Gamma could also be good, because this deck has a lot of this deck has a good amount of cards that basically put you in a spot where you have no monsters, and it's kind of like baiting your opponent to use traps like Cursed Eldland. You know, you can activate the Ash, and you can just chain Gamma. The Golden Lord effect. If you have no if like you're starting off with the Golden Lord effect, you know, you discard the Golden Lord with Spell Trap. They try to negate, or they try to, you know, with a monster on the field, you Gamma. So it's like there's a good amount of scenarios where Gamma is live. So I definitely think that you know, maybe even something like Banshee. You know, like you normal summon Banshee and you want to get Zombie on the field, you banish Banshee. They try to like do some kind of negate Gamma. So it's a good amount of scenarios, and I think Gamma is definitely a good option, especially if you're more on a budget. But if you have the consistency cards, I think just the extra with the prosperities are just better. So that's it for the main. Going into the extra deck, the Link ones, we got Link Karibo and Link Spider. Link Karibo, of course, for like Glow Bloom or something like that. So it's just good to get it off the field if you have to. And then Link Spider is for the Eldlich traps, if you want to go into an effect monster. So pretty good stuff. The one Vampire Sucker, I think she's definitely necessary in a zombie, any kind of zombie deck. Really good card. Helps you get more draw power and being able to. I mean, I've never actually used the effect, but tributing your opponent's monsters for like a zombie normal summon or tribute summon, whatever, I think it's pretty cool. Being able to tribute your opponent's monsters. One Hockey Fibrax, just, you know, this deck can make some combo plays. Like if your Unizombie gets like negated like by Imperm or Ash or whatever, then obviously if you can get another body on board, you can just go into Hockey Fibrax and keep playing, bring out Bloom and all that. Then I've been wanting to use a deck that can run this card for so long. Because I've had this card for a while and I just don't have any decks that can use it. Even though this is not my favorite card, the BLS Envoy at the beginning, the normal monster is the monster is like my favorite card in the game. So when I came back into the game and I found out about this card, I thought that was so cool. But I couldn't really find a deck that could use this card well until this deck. You know, there's so many ways to summon this with. If you summon it with the Golden Lord or the Doom King, it gets the effect that it can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. So really, really good. It can be hard to out for certain decks. And then the one access code, that's the Link 4. It's just a good way to go for game or being able to OTK your opponent. Access code is just really good in general. And then for the XYZ, I'm just playing the one Gustav Max and the one was it the Juggernaut, Super Dreadnought, Juggernaut, whatever. Just good cards if you want to burn your opponent for game or whatever. If you have, you can always just like attack or whatever with your Golden Lords and then overlay them, go into this, and then deal 2k damage. So also helps with like OTKing and all that stuff. I think it's good cards to have in the extra deck and these type of decks. Now for the Synchros, we got one Formula Synchron, one Friend Lord Omega, and one Shiranui Sun Saga. So Formula Synchron is just like your option to go into with Hockey Fibrax if you want to. Just gets you more draw power, and then you can use also Formula Synchron's effect to link on your opponent's, synchro on your opponent's turn. Go into like the Sun Saga. Honestly, if I had the card, I would probably switch out Sun Saga for Baron de Fleur. I don't know if I said that right, but Baron de Fleur is just obviously it's like an Omni Negate, so it's obviously better, and you can use this with Doom King or with the Fusion, the one that you use with Super Poly. You can use this with one of those and then go into Baron de Fleur or I guess in this case into Sun Saga, which Sun Saga is also interruption, but only if you have Zombie World in the field, which kind of sucks a little bit. So that's why I think Baron de Fleur is better, because you don't have to have Zombie World in the field to actually have the negate from Fleur. And then Omega is just good. If you're running Gamma, it's even better because you can just if you Gamma your opponent, you can just go into Omega, rip a card out of your opponent's hand. And it helps you get your banished cards back into the graveyard for your zombies, so it has pretty good synergy. But even in in this version without Omega, or sorry, without Gamma. If you're like a lot of people are playing the Invoke Dogmatica stuff, so I think if your opponent uses Maximus, then you can just send Omega as one of the cards, and then Omega will be able to bring banished cards back. So you're able to you don't lose super hard like to your opponent, using Maximus on you. Like you have options to send cards. So that's it for the Synchros, and last but not least the fusions. Of course, the Draco Nether Soul, target for Super Poly with Zombie World. Then we got Starving Venom and the Mud Dragon. Obviously for darks, and then for if you don't have Zombie World in the field, this card could potentially be live, so it's just a good option to have. And then the last card is just the Entis. So this, along with Omega, is probably what the two cards that I would send off if I had them in the extra deck. Like if I haven't used like Prosperity or Extravagance to banish them or whatever, then the Omega and the Entis is probably what I would send off of a Maximus if I get Maximus. So yeah, I just thought it'd be good to have these in case, because I feel like the Dogmatica Invoke stuff is running rampant right now. It's one of the best decks in the format. So that's basically it for the extra deck, guys. And I guess the profile in general. So yeah, zombies. Like this is my take on the zombie deck. I know it's not a tier 1 deck or anything, and I do feel like the Dogmatica Eldlich just synergizes a little bit more because the Dogmatica stuff is super strong right now. But I wanted to find a way to, build some kind of zombie version that can be competitive, and honestly, I think this is like the best that you can do right now. So yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think of this Zombie Eldlich profile. Like I said, shoutouts to Andres Torres. He's the one that gave me the idea for the deck. I made a few changes, like I said. I try to keep the deck at 40, and I did. The deck is 40 cards, so I think it's, like I said, it's a solid deck, and I think it's really fun to play. I guess one thing to quickly mention is I thought it was weird not playing Solemn Strike in a deck that uses traps like this, like with the Torrential and all that, because it helps you go second. But I feel like in this deck, first of all, there's a space issue, so you do have to compromise somewhere. I think the only deck that would really you kind of auto lose to with this deck is probably Drytron. Just because if Drytron goes first, you don't have a way to, without having the counter traps, you don't have really a way to break their board at all. So you gotta make compromises somewhere. You can't expect this deck to be tier 1, but obviously if you side correctly, you make a side deck that can, help you against Drytron, then I do feel like losing, obviously it's a match, not just one game, so you side correctly and you play smart, then you can definitely make the deck work. But yeah, guys, I think that's going to be it for the Zombie Eldlich deck profile. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace out.